Hey guys, Wild Willie here, and I got a question for you. What would you do on the right hand if your family was in a shift situation and you were on day 4 without any clean water or any food in their bellies? You had a young family. How far would you go? What means would you take to keep your family alive? On the left hand, if you had a young family and you were a prepper and you had the supplies to keep them alive, what would you do to protect yourself and your family to keep them alive from the people on the right-hand side? How far would you go? So what I want to rehash today, guys, is a little bit about security in a survival situation, whether it be man-made or natural disaster, some sort of shift situation. Now, I'm not going to get into weapons and how to make bear spray and everything else. I want to talk about security, keeping your family safe in a situation like that. And there's 2 simple rules you can abide by that will keep your family safe tenfold that if you didn't use these rules. Very simple. Don't tell and don't show. I talked about this and I just want to rehash this. I talked about it in an earlier video, but I just want to rehash it because I think it's very important. First of all, don't tell. If you're a prepper and you have food supplies or you have generators or this or that, whatever you may have, if you go out and buy something, don't be talking to your neighbors about it. Don't tell people at work about it, what you have or don't have. It's none of their business. Because I promise you, after day 3 or 4, if your neighbors know you have food, you have water, you have supplies, and they don't after 3 or 4 days of sitting in the dark and empty bellies, they're going to come knocking on your door. And if you don't answer, things are going to get escalated and turn a lot worse. I don't care if you've known your neighbor for 2 years or 20 years. Don't tell people what you have. Even in sublime conversation. Don't mention your prepper even. Don't talk about your supplies. Because people will come looking for them when they get desperate enough. There's been studies done after Hurricane Katrina and Sandy and whatnot, after people 3 or 4 days without clean water, clean food, the ends and the things they did to get it. There's a lot of laws broken, a lot of crimes committed during those times. So it's very simple. Don't tell anyone what you have. The less people that know, the better. That's number 1. Number 2, more importantly, is don't show. And what I mean by don't show is, when you're in your house and you're eating your spaghetti dinner and you got your lights on and maybe your kids are watching a movie off battery backup or whatever else, or on a computer or on a laptop, don't let the neighbors see what you're doing. Very simple. In a shift situation, when I talked about my last video about the power going out and securing yourself in your home, well, that also means covering up your windows. Use whatever means you have to. Start with newspapers, garbage bags, cut open garbage bags, cover up your windows. Use blankets, duct tape them, seal your whole windows up so no one can see in. The last thing you want is on day 3 and 4, when the neighbors across the street or down the road are sitting in the dark eating a can of beans in the cold, and you're sitting in there sipping on a tea after making a nice pasta dinner and a hot meal, listening to a radio. They're going to want to come in. They're going to want to see what you're doing, and they're going to want some. You don't want that. Trust me. In a situation when the shit hits a fan and they're down for 3, 4, 5 days, people will come to your front door if they think you have something they want. And then you're going to get into a situation that you might not want to get into and have to make decisions you might not want to have to make. So very simple rules, guys. Don't tell anyone what you got and what you're doing. And don't show. Don't show the outside world what's going on in your 4 walls during a shift situation. Follow these 2 rules and your family, it increases your safety level tenfold. Just 2 things to go by, guys. Anyways, I'm Wild Willie and I got to get trucking. And remember, it's not a question if the shit's going to hit the fan. It's a question of when. So always be prepared.